From the local station, the morning show starts now.
A former JEA CEO has been found guilty in the JEA fraud trial. Reaction from the community after the guilty verdict. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll get to your headlines in just a moment. I'm Ashley Harding.
And I'm Brianna Andrews. But first, let's check in with meteorologist Michelle McCormick. Michelle, we are in for another beautiful day.
We sure are. Look at that beautiful shot of downtown over the river. Now the winds are light right now, so not a lot happening on the water. Winds out of the west-northwest in Mayport at 70. That's warm for our morning temperature. And let's look over at Julington Creek, 70 here as well. Winds will stay out of the west for most of the day, and they'll be light between 5 and 10. Could see some gusty conditions at times, but that's pretty usual. Here's a look at our radar right now. We are watching up here. This is like Pierce and Brantley County. Y'all are getting just some downpours right now, just some scattered showers. That'll be on and off throughout the day for you in southeast Georgia. But right now, we're also contending with a little bit of fog in our southern counties. Look at Palatka at 8, Keystone Heights just under 2 miles of visibility. Keep that in mind when you head out today. The light fog will start to burn off once the sun rises around 7:30. Temperatures right now, though, across the area, mid-60s. We did see the 70s in some spots, and those will just continue to rise. All right, I know you're getting ready for round 3. It starts at 7:40. They didn't finish round 2 last night. Couple rounds left, or couple players left to go. And then at 8:40, we'll start round 3. But look, 82 degrees. If you were out there yesterday, you know it was hot and sweaty and sticky. It'll be like that again today. Partly cloudy skies, see a little bit more of that. There is air conditioning available in the fan club or the fan shop. I went in there, that's where I got some respite. And then tomorrow, 80 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. There's a possibility for a scattered shower, probably not likely today. All right, today, warm scattered showers. We'll talk more about that coming up in big weather. Then tonight, we're going to cool down. Tomorrow morning, some areas of fog. And then coming up in our big weather in just a little bit, we'll give you the hour-by-hour forecast for your Saturday. Ladies?
Michelle, thank you so much. Well, happening today, the families of 2 of the 3 missing boaters from Brunswick will celebrate their lives. The service for Dalton Conway and Caleb Wilkinson will be at the Harbor Worship Center in Kingsland, Georgia. Early last month, the family of Tyler Barlow, the 3rd boater, honored his life in a similar service.
And if you remember, the 3 men left Brunswick last October for a fishing trip but never returned. So far, only debris from their boat has been found. News4JAX reporter Khalil Maycock joins us live. Khalil, today's service is open to the community.
Yeah, Brianna, the sister of Dalton, who was also in a relationship with Caleb, posted on social media saying that today's celebration of life was open to anyone in the community who has helped their families through this difficult time. So this is a photo of that post inviting the community out to celebrate the lives of Dalton Conway and Caleb Wilkinson. Their celebration of life comes a month after Tyler Barlow's. Those 3 men left Brunswick, Georgia on October 14th for a fishing trip. They were scheduled to return on October 18th, but they disappeared. Following that, the Coast Guard says their crews searched more than 94,000 square miles over the span of 7 days, but then called off the search. After that, the family hired a private company to continue searching for the missing men. So far, only debris from the boat the men were on has been found. One was located 16 miles off the coast of St. Augustine in November, and then in December, 2 more pieces of debris were also found from the boat, one in Ormond Beach, the other in Palm Coast. News4JAX reporter and anchor Scott Johnson spoke with the family when they came out to that area after the first debris was found.
It's pretty emotional to see, because it's been a month now, to actually see some type of debris that was identified and confirmed to be part of the Carol Ann.
And today's celebration of life starts at 3 and will be live streamed on the Harbor Worship Center's YouTube page. Reporting live, Khalil Maycock, Channel 4, the local station.
Khalil, thank you so much. Well, a former JEA CEO was found guilty in what some have called the greatest scheme to defraud the taxpayers in the history of Jacksonville. Former CEO Aaron Zahn is now facing up to 25 years in prison. He was found guilty of conspiracy and wire fraud.
Zahn will remain at home for the next 90 days until his sentencing date on June 18th. Former JEA CFO Ryan Wanamaker was facing the same charges, but he was found not guilty. Each man had a separate jury in this trial. The verdicts put a punctuation mark on a scandal that shook the city and JEA back in 2019. It centered around a scheme that would have resulted in Zahn and other JEA executives making millions in bonuses if the utility was sold. News4JAX reporter Ariel Schiller spoke with community members about the case.
But how do you feel? I mean, I'm not about this case.
I'm emotional.
Emotions were high following the reading of the verdicts Friday for former JEA executives Aaron Zahn and Ryan Wanamaker. Wanamaker, the former CFO for the utility, was found not guilty on both counts of wire fraud and conspiracy, while Zahn, the former CEO, was found guilty on both counts. News4JAX reporter Jim Peggott tried speaking with Zahn outside the federal courthouse Friday afternoon.
You don't have anything to say at all.
Our client has no comment, Jim.
We spoke with several community members about the trial outside the Iceman game Friday night. Melinda Truman says she's followed bits and pieces of the case, and she feels like the city avoided a scam.
It's wonderful. You know, it's showing us that somebody is watching out for us and checks and balances are working.
We also met Kevin McFeeters Friday night. He's been following the trial and learned of the verdict when we asked him about it. He says he was fascinated by the case and is thankful the scheme wasn't successful. What does it mean to you, just as a person who is a taxpayer, knowing that there was checks and balances to stop that from happening?
I'd say it's nice to see that the justice system sometimes does work. You know, it's not always the case when you see all the evidence presented. Granted, the general public sees a lot more than what the jury does, but, you know, this is a time where I think the justice system succeeded.
Zahn could face up to 25 years in prison for those charges. His sentencing is scheduled for June 18th. In Jacksonville, Ariel Schiller, Channel 4, the local station.
And JEA sent us a statement on the verdicts that say in part, the actions of a former CEO do not reflect our organization or our values. We appreciate the efforts of all who assisted in delivering this outcome, and we look forward to putting this matter behind us while we focus on moving forward to serve our community. And our coverage continues on news4jax.com, where you can read reactions from Mayor Deegan and from the FBI, plus State Attorney Melissa Nelson on the outcome of the trial.
Breaking overnight, one person is dead after a shooting in Jacksonville's Brentwood neighborhood. The shooting happened on Woodbine Street near Brentwood Avenue. According to police, officers responded to the shooting at 10 o'clock last night. Two people, they say, had some sort of dispute. That's when one of them was shot. JFRD pronounced a man dead there at the scene. The other person was detained for further investigation. Now, if you have information about this shooting, you are asked to contact Crime Stoppers at 866-845-TIPS. And on Jacksonville's west side, the family of the woman killed in a triple shooting Wednesday is seeking justice. 21-year-old Maya Green was killed during an altercation where guns were involved. The sheriff's office says she and two others were shot. Green was taken to the hospital where she died. News4JAX spoke to her family, where they say she was a hairstylist.
Maya was such a loving, caring people person, like very energetic. I never even really seen her angry before. And she was such a welcoming person. Like, she took care of all the people that was around her. She made sure she looked out for her community, and she was a hairstylist, and she just loved caring on people.
Now, 4 people were detained for interviews. No arrests have been made.
Earlier this week, we told you about more charges against a former funeral director accused of abandoning a Duval County mortuary with bodies still inside. But we now have received his warrant. So it says he stole $90,000 from people who paid for service in advance. Elliot Graham is facing charges for organized fraud and 9 counts of unlawful withdrawals of funds. We've also been told that he's permanently lost his license to operate as a funeral home director and the license to operate the Miriam Graham, funeral home. Now, investigators say he misused funeral funds and gave people the wrong ashes at the funeral home. His next court hearing is April 4th. A neighborhood crime alert from the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. Officers responded to 480 incidents involving Hyundai or Kia vehicles across the city just this year. Now, we've done several stories about a software issue that makes older models without that push-button ignition easy for crooks to steal. So JSL wants people to always lock their car doors. That is so important. Never leave their keys inside. Park in a well-lit area. Consider using a steering wheel lock or a car alarm. And of course, check your vehicle for recalls and get a software update if needed.
All right, so more students are about to go on spring break next week. Here's a look at who will be out of school. Next week, students in Duval, Nassau, Baker, and Flagler, as well as UNF and Florida State College at Jacksonville will be off. Bradford County will have spring break the following week. And students in Glenn, Camden, Ware, and Charlton counties in Georgia will have their spring break from April 1st to the 5th.
All right, a friendship forged with a love for helping others.
That's right. The way two friends are getting back to their community and how this all started during the pandemic.
News 4 Jax, coverage that won't waste your time.